Hello, everybody. Darrell Owens, Legacy Maker Sports Network, and we are about to get it in. Green and gold over everything. This is the first episode of this All Packers podcast on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Today, we're going to talk about the preseason, break down the 53-man roster, talk about two new Packer Hall of Famers, and we're going to preview Bears-Packers for Sunday. Once again, everybody, it is green and gold over everything. Let's roll. Welcome to the first episode of Green and Gold over everything here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. So I'm excited. This is a passion project of mine that has been itching for a very, very, very long time. So I'm excited to be able to come on here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and talk about everything green and gold, everything Green Bay, everything Packers. So we got a lot to get into today. And so we're going to start off today talking about the preseason and what it meant, what it was, all the good things that we saw in the preseason. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this young Packers team will be able to do this season. Hopefully good. We'll see, hopefully not too much bad stuff this year, but we're going to see what this Packers team, this young Packers team can do. But let's go ahead and talk about the preseason and how things went during the preseason. So Packers 2-1 during the preseason. In the first game they took on the Bengals, had a very strong week. When they took on the Bengals because they were at joint practices in Cincinnati. Some days the Packers won some days it was the Bengals based off of some reports coming out of camp those days. So, but the Packers, when game time came around, and they did have their ones going in that one, because we did see Jordan Love throughout the entire preseason. Actually, we saw the ones throughout the season period, especially with such a young team. You want to be able to see the ones kind of, get adjusted and get things rolling. But in that game, the Packers just, straight dominated. And we got a chance to see the birth of Emmanuel Wilson, and his strong play got him on that 53-man roster for the Packers. I mean, he played extremely well, and he earned a spot. I'm not going to say maybe just in that game, because he played well throughout, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But in that game, we got a chance to see him shine, and a lot of other Packer players did some really good things in that game as well. And we got to see Isaiah McDuffie do some good stuff. We saw Valentine doing good things. We saw Sean Clifford, the backup quarterback, doing some good stuff. So the Packers winning that one 36-19. Then the one loss they did have was against the Patriots in a game that was kind of back and forth and was kind of even until the injury to Isaiah Bolden ended the game, and both teams decided not to continue. The Patriots were winning at the time, and so they got the dub. And then the Packers won the last one against the Seahawks 19-15 in Green Bay to finish the preseason 2-1. This the preseason for me was I'm not saying a precursor for everything I think we're going to see from this Packer team through the season, but to me it was a good indicator of what could be, what the potential could be. I think this team is still got some things they got to work out here, but the young guys really showed a lot of energy. And what I loved about it the most is you could tell that they were just excited to be out there. And that's one of the biggest things that I took away from it overall for the preseason. I just thought that they really did a good job of just showing some extremely good energy throughout. Now, I had a couple players that I felt like had really good preseasons. And so I only did 3, but I'm going to go ahead and throw an honorable mention right now to Isaiah Duffy because I thought he had a really good preseason myself. So I want to give him some love before I start talking about the 3 young men that I'm about to talk about now. First, of course, talk about J Love. Jordan Love, to me, even though you look at the numbers, you say to yourself, well, I mean, it wasn't that spectacular, but from what I saw, and the reason why I give him this spot has a lot to do with the confidence that I saw in him in those 3 games. And, when he got on the field against Kansas City back in 2021, I'm not going to lie to you. I said to myself, yeah, he got to go. He's not going to be what the Packers want him to be. But, last year, that little twinkle that we saw against Philadelphia, and I said, okay, maybe there's a little something here. And this preseason kind of solidified it for me a little bit more and said, okay, maybe there's a lot more than I think. And then you hear a lot of the pundits out there, a lot of people are jumping on the Jordan Love bandwagon. Now, it's not full blown yet because I think they still want to see what he can do during the regular season. But I think a lot of people are starting to turn around here. But the biggest thing for me, like I said, was the confidence. And if he can continue that confidence, I really like what I see from Jordan Love so far. But 193 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no picks, no mistakes. That's a big deal right there for Mr. Jordan Love. So, and one other thing, Jordan got a chance to hit all of who I think may be his top receivers throughout this season. With Reed in the Seattle game, he hit Dobbs early in the Cincinnati game, and then we saw Watson get a touchdown in the Seahawks game. So we got a chance to see the top 3 guys get in there, and maybe grow a little bit with Love and get some reps in there, get some touchdowns in there. So we'll see what happens with that. But Jay Love's one of them. Next, we talked about him a little bit earlier, and that's Emmanuel Wilson. Wilson had 223 yards rushing through the preseason, 2 rushing touchdowns, both of them coming up against Cincinnati in that first week. And then he rushed for 5.9 yards. I'm getting my words tangled, y'all. I'm a little bit excited if you don't realize it, but 5.9 yards per carry during the preseason. And I thought what he was able to do was he found a way to surpass Patrick Taylor and what he had done, last year coming in as a third back. But Wilson really deserved this spot. He ran hard, he ran tough, and the young man from Fort Valley State University really did his thing to make this Packers football team. So congratulations to him. Next, Carrington Valentine, 9 solo tackles, 6 passes defended, and an interception. And Valentine, the young guy from Kentucky, is another one of these young guns that just has found a way to show up. And this Packers team is extremely young. Young is offense, and the youngest offense in the league, but they're just extremely talented. And I think what veteran presence they do have is truly helping this team right now. But back to Valentine. Valentine has done a really good job this preseason. I love what I see from him. And he's taking advantage of the fact that Eric Stokes is on the PUP. And so if he can continue to grow, I think the sky's the limit for Valentine. Now, once Stokes gets back, I mean, this cornerback room is going to be something special to see. So, yeah, very, very excited about what I've seen from those three guys in the preseason. And I think things will continue to get better. I think they will continue to get better. But let's go ahead and talk about the overall 53-man roster for the Green Bay Packers. Now, this 53-man roster, like I just said a few seconds ago, extremely young. But let's get into them a little bit. At QB, J. Love, Jordan Love, and Sean Clifford will be the men behind center for Green Bay this year. Clifford did show me a couple of good things throughout the preseason. He had a couple picks here and there, but overall, he's another one that I felt like you could see his confidence kind of grow into this offense, and he didn't show any fear. And I like what I saw from him. Even though personally, I still would like to see the Packers have a veteran backup in there somewhere just as a security blanket per se for Love. But, we'll see how things go. The Packers are on the young man trail. So then we look at receiver, another young group with Watson, Dubs, Reed, Torrey, Wicks, and Heath. Heath had a pretty good preseason. Wicks had a pretty decent preseason before he got hurt. Watson, Dobbs, and Reed all scored touchdowns. Torrey, you can see him kind of coming along. Very young and talented receiving corps. And I will even say underrated because obviously we don't know what they can do yet. But from what I've seen in the preseason, there's hope for Packers fans out there. At the running back position, Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Emmanuel Wilson, probably the second strongest unit on this offense. Jones, obviously a Pro Bowler. Dillon, Quadzilla, he's going to be playing for a contract. He's in a contract year. I expect big things for A.J. Dillon this year. Big things from A.J. Dillon. So you better watch out for Dillon because I expect big things from him, with that contract on the line. Then you head to the tight ends. You got Musgrave, Kraft, and DeGuara. DeGuara comes in as the senior leadership on this tight end room, with Kraft and Musgrave both being drafted this year. Musgrave is more likely going to get the start. DeGuara going to use more at the fullback position here and there. But for me, this is another position where I felt and wished that they had signed a veteran presence there, like a really decent person at that position. I would have loved to see Mercedes Lewis stay in Green Bay. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, but I would have loved to have seen him stay in Green Bay, to help continue to mentor these young guys. And but good luck to Big Mo out there and good things for him. But I was really hoping to see him stay to help groom this tight end room. The receivers are the same way. I wish they'd had a veteran receiver in their presence and quarterback, as I alluded to a little bit earlier. Those are the positions I wish that they had maybe one veteran guy, maybe not the start, but just someone there in there. So, but I digress. We'll see how things go at those positions. And then the strongest group on this Packers offense is the offensive line, led by all pros, Bakhtiari and Jenkins, along with Myers, Runyon, Tom as the starters. I really like this offensive line room, and I think that they are going to be strong, and their strength is really going to help Jordan Love in that running back room throughout this season. And they're the most critical piece of this offense. I think that's what's going to help Jordan Love really take that next step, is how good I believe this offensive line is. Now let's head over to the defensive side. And on the defensive side, you got Kenny Clark leading the way on the defensive line, Slayton, Wyatt, Ford, Wooden, and Brooks. Wyatt has to step up this year. Wyatt has to be great this year. I think he, with him being a first-round pick last year, he's going to have to step up and really help take the lead there, or at least help Kenny Clark and that defensive line really take it to another level. A lot of expectation out there for Devontae Wyatt. Then we go to the outside linebackers. You got Gary Smith, Ndbari, Hollins, Van Ness, and Cox Jr. Kingsley, I apologize if I destroyed the last name. I can be terrible with names from time to time. But I like this linebacker group. I'm very intrigued to see what Van Ness is going to do. I think Gary's going to have a great year. I think him and Smith are going to reign terror at times on that defensive side of the ball. And in the inside linebackers, you got Campbell, all pro. Quay Walker led the team in tackles last year. McDuffie, who had a strong preseason. You got Wilson, you got Carpenter. I like the inside linebackers. It's the first time in a long time that I can say that I like where the linebacking core is for the Packers. Young but talented. Young but talented. Cornerback. You got the best cornerback in the league, if not second best, and maybe in some people's eyes in Jair Alexander. You got Rasul Douglas, who's been great in his 2 years as a Packer. Nixon, who was an all-pro last year as a kick returner, but he's going to get his shine there at cornerback. Carrington Valentine, we talk about how good he was during the preseason. Can't wait to see that group. And, of course, Stokes at some point will come back. He showed some flashes when he was healthy. At safety, Savage, Ford, Owens, Levitt, and Johnson Jr. And Jonathan Owens, not cousin, but, hey, if you got Owens in there, you fam. So the safety group, hated to see Amos leave. Some Packer fans probably like, hey, bye-bye, my guy. But it would have been nice to have him stay on that in that safety room, but it is what it is. Heading over to the special team specialist. Anders Carlson, the young man from Auburn, comes in, takes over for the legendary Mason Crosby at kicker. And so I'm optimistic about him. Hopefully he will continue to improve as we go along through the season. And then Daniel Wellen. Now, Wellen, I got a chance to see during the XFL season because, Legacy, we cover the DC Defenders. We're right, 2 hours away from Washington, D.C. So we get a chance to go up there and check out, check out the team. And he did some really good things last year for that Defenders team. So I'm not surprised he was able to supplant O'Donnell and take that spot. He's going to be a really good piece for this Packers team as the season goes along. So congratulations to him. There it is, the 53-man roster. Destroyed a couple names within there. I'm always bad at that from time to time, but very, very young team. There's a lot of talent that could take big steps, but it's going to be interesting to see if Joe Burry, which I'm not a fan of personally. We're going to see if he was able to get this team rolling and get that defense rolling because, in my opinion, the Packers have the best defense in the NFC North, and that's what makes this division just so interesting. I think it's going to be the closest division in football. Not the best division, but the closest division in football. It'll be intriguing. Next, let's talk about, before we get to our game preview, let's talk about the new Packer Hall of Famers in Jordy Nelson and Josh Sidden. Like I said, much love and congratulations to both. Jordy Nelson, who finished his playing career with 613 catches, 8,587 yards, and 72 touchdowns scored, majority of those in a Packers uniform. He had that 1 year with that black and silver team out there in Oakland. But an amazing career, just an electrifying Packer, and now he will be immortalized all time as a Packers Hall of Famer. And then Josh Sidden, from 2007 to 2015, just an amazing stalwart on that Packers offensive line, 4 Pro Bowls to be to add to his credit during that time frame. He was just a monster for the Packers on that O-line. Both guys deserve to be Hall of Famers. Congratulations to Sutton and Nelson, Green Bay Packers Hall of Famers. Well, y'all, it is time to go ahead and get into our preview for Sunday's game. And like I told y'all earlier, I have a special guest with me. He's going to be here to talk about the Bears and what the Bears would need to do in order to beat the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. And myself, I'm going to tell you how the Packers can beat the Chicago Bears on Sunday. Let's go ahead and get into the game preview. Packers, Bears, 425, September the 10th. Let's get into that preview right now. Ladies and gentlemen, here with me today to talk Packers and Bears. I mean, it is the longest rivalry in all of the NFL, but we get a chance to talk about Packers and Bears today. It is going down on Sunday. It's going to be a beast. It's a classic Soldier Field. We're going to get to see all of that going down. But of course, like I said, glad to have with me today my guy from the 3-point conversion, Bears insider, knows a little bit of everything, but I mean, it's a little close to his heart. My man, Mr. Raphael Haynes, owner of the 3-point conversion. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on. Did you miss me? After you,
we in there. So, but we did miss you. Most definitely did miss you. So, definitely glad to have you on. We're going to tackle this game today. And so with this, we're going to try to do our keys to victory on this one. So we're going to start Raphael first. Raphael, I want to know your keys to victory. What is it going to take the Chicago Bears to get that dub at home in game one and get the season started on the right foot?
First of all, it has to start with the defense, and we have to stop the run. I believe last year when we played the Packers both times, the reason why we lost, we couldn't stop the run. Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't really having a great year last year, and we were able to, stop him and frustrate him, and maybe his receivers were frustrating him. But I know, and if I say we, again, I'm a Bears fan as well, so it might come out as we, but yeah, still the Bears, they couldn't stop the run, and because they couldn't stop the run, it made it easier for the Packers to have a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 1 if they had a 3rd down. So that's got to be the number one thing. The Bears, they beefed up in the draft and got some D tackles. They picked up a D tackle in the offseason as well. So, and of course the 3 linebackers they have with Sanborn, Tremaine Edmonds, and TJ Edwards. Most notably TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, you bring them in, and so you have to stop the run. I mean, if you can't stop the run, especially with a team, I wouldn't say a new offense, but you have a new signal caller, so it's not really a lot of, I guess, cohesiveness. Of course, they had preseason, they had training camp, but yet still, you want them to rely on that versus make it easier for them to drive. Secondly, I think it goes along with, stopping the run, and that's time of possession. We'll start with the defensive side. We have to get 3 and outs. I mean, if you want to win the time of possessions, 3 and outs. They can't have any long drives. So in order to do that, again, like I said, stop the run, but also just just make the Packers work for it, and frustrate them, keep their offense, on the bench, and that way they can't get no continuity. When they're on the bench, we all know that. Offensively, the Bears, the Bears can't match the Packers with 3 and out. The Bears have to keep first down. Even if you don't score, a couple of first downs. That's the biggest part. You get a couple of first downs. Not only does that help the time of possession, but also it changes the field. Field position, and so now you're not punting from your own 10 or 20-yard line. Now you're punting from the 50-yard line if you can't score. That way, the Packers have that bad field position. They have to, make a much longer drive to score, which, of course, it bodes well in your favor. And then last but not least, you got to protect Justin Fields. We all know Justin Fields. He's the one who's going to make this team go. No one knows what to expect. I think we all feel like he has a ability to play well and to be better this season, if not great. But in order for that to happen, the thing that the Bears couldn't do last year was protect Justin Fields. You have new weapons, or you have a weapon in DJ Moore, which allows Claypool and Darnell Mooney to play in their right positions and the positions that will work for them. And in order for him to play well and not necessarily, because honestly, when Justin Fields took off running, it wasn't necessarily just because, oh, let me take off running. It was more so he had to run for his life, so, which is good. Yeah, we want that, but at the same time, not all the time. So if they can protect Justin, make him clean, and he'll be able to have clean windows, clean pockets, then those are the keys for the Bears to win.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I agree with you 100%. Because here's the thing: the Packers are going to run the football. We we know with that two-headed monster, and I don't want to say three-headed monster just yet because we're still trying to figure out what Emmanuel Wilson can do. We saw a little glimpse in the preseason, but still trying to figure out what he can do. But when I look at it, you got to stop the run. That's going to be a big thing. And if you take that time of possession away from the Packers, especially with a young offense, there's a chance for them to really, frustrate them. And we don't know what Jordan Love can do under pressure per se. We haven't really seen it, so we don't know if he can make the miraculous comebacks. We don't know any of that. And obviously, the biggest thing, and what I agree with you 100% is protecting, Justin Fields. That has been the thing, in my opinion, that kind of held this team back. We're like, people look at Justin, they say, man, well, Justin Fields can run the ball, da. Here's the thing. In college, Justin Fields didn't have to run the ball. And he was throwing the ball all these, he didn't have to run the ball unless it was absolutely necessary. And I think that's what a lot of people forget. He didn't have to do all that. He had to do that last year because struggling offensive line. And they tried to get some pieces to add on that. So I agree with you 100%, man. If they can do those things, that could be key to victory.
And then you got to understand, it was a horrible combination of the worst offensive line and the worst wide receiver core. So, of course, I mean, he couldn't do anything but run. That's why his numbers looked horrible as far as passing, or didn't look as good as the other quarterbacks. And then I just want to allude to running the ball. Like you say, if the Packers are smart, which any coach is, pretty much should be smart if they're coaching, they're going to run the ball because you have this young quarterback. You don't want to rely on this young quarterback as of yet, not the first game. I remember in the 80s, I know this is 2000s, but in the 80s, 90s, if a quarterback threw for 300 yards, 330 yards, 95% of the time or 90% of the time, they lost that game, right? And I think this year is what the Packers want to do now to get your young quarterback acclimated to this offense, to the NFL, to playing the entire season is let's run the ball. Let's not worry about him. Now, Jordan Love might be great. We don't know. He had a great preseason, but at the same time, if they're running the ball and they're controlling the line of scrimmage, and now, excuse me, you have where you can go ahead and do play action pass and bootlegs or what have you, and it's 2nd and 4, or you don't know what to, especially if the running game is on point. Just even on 1st and 10, he has an advantage because now pretty much the team is bracing for the run because it's been so successful. So if the Bears don't stop the run, then it could cause a horrible or a long day, I should say, for the Bears defense.
Well, it's a big game, and we know at Soldier Field, new era. It feels like a new era all the way around. Even though Justin Fields had a little taste of the era last year, we're getting to see a new version of the Packers and Bears rivalry. Now let's talk about Green Bay's keys to victory here. So this is what I have here. Number one, do not let Justin Fields beat you with his feet. Everybody knows that there's history among history of athletic quarterbacks that are mobile, that have destroyed the Green Bay Packers defense. Colin Kaepernick. We've seen Cam Newton do it. I don't want to go too deep because it will bring back bad memories. But with that being said, you can't let Justin Fields go off with his feet. If he's going off with his feet and he's able to go out there and connect with DJ Moore and getting that connection going, it's going to be an extremely, extremely long day for the Green Bay Packers. So stop Justin Fields, contain him. I know it's going to sound crazy, but force him to stay in that pocket and make the decisions through the air. Do not let him beat you with your feet because it could be a long day. Number 2, Jordan Love must remain confident. And I think we have started to see the beginning of a confidence from Jordan Love. Now, there were some plays in here and there in the preseason. He's missing, maybe missing a little while, but I think that will be better with reps. Like once we get to see him a little bit more, see him out there and kind of just getting a feel for the game, especially when it's the ones versus the ones all the time. But you can see the confidence level in Jordan Love now just off of the preseason performance based off of what you saw a couple of years ago. And so I think if he can keep that confidence going, it's going to be a big deal for Green Bay, even if they lose, and he can show that he's continuing to remain confident. I think that's going to be big long term for the Packers. And then number 3 for me, put Jair Alexander on DJ Moore the entire game. I don't care what you do. Do not let DJ Moore and Justin Fields go off together. We saw baby glimpses of it in the preseason. And the first thing I said when I saw, I believe they were playing, I don't want to say Buffalo.
They played Buffalo and Kansas City.
They played, yeah. So that first game when he hit that bomb, I said, "Woo, boy, that could be problems." So, I mean, it's he hit him, and then he just Moore just made it look too easy. And you got to remember, Moore has been playing with lackluster quarterbacks over the last couple of years, and now he gets a young gun that has a lot of talent. And I'm very intrigued about how that's all going to go around. But yes, put Jair on DJ Moore, and don't let him beat the Packers as well. So those are my 3 keys to victory, Raphael.
Right. And it was actually Tennessee. Then they played
Tennessee. There you go.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. First off with Justin Fields, because if he breaks one run for maybe 50 yards for a touchdown, then it's set for the Bears offense, because now, which more than likely they're probably going to play a spy on him. But if you do that, then you really have to have that spy in the middle. That means you're taking a defender away from the pass, coverage. So now I mean, pretty much your window should look good now as Justin Fields, because it's not, if they're playing nickel or if they're playing dime, whatever it is, it's probably nickel more than likely. If you're playing nickel now, that linebacker or the nickel back, whoever has to stay in just to watch out for Justin Fields. And that means, like I said, now you don't have the double teams, or you don't have, somebody's going to be one-on-one. Someone should win that, So I understand that. And then I think that's the key for Jordan Love, is once he gets confident, because we see that he has talent. If he gets confident, then I think that offense is going to roll. I mean, you have good wide receivers. We all like Christian Watson. Then about Romeo Doubs, and I think he's waiting to break out this year. And one thing we know, Rodgers might not have had a great connection with Doubs, but that doesn't mean that Love doesn't have a great connection with Doubs. And usually that's how it works. So,
right.
And I think if that happens, he gets comfortable, he gets confident. Yeah, it could be a long day for the Bears defense, especially if they don't get any pressure. So
yeah,
I agree.
And that's the thing that kind of got me like, all right, you got to remain confident. You can keep DJ Moore and Justin Fields from starting the season off on the right foot, and if they do, who knows? Like in a division, Raphael, that me and you both had a chance to talk about with our guy Cortland, in a division that we feel like is going to be close. I mean, like I feel like it's going to be a close division. It's going to be a dogfight. May not be the best division in football, but it's going to be a dogfight, because I think all the teams are, to me, the one doesn't have this, one doesn't have that. One has this, one doesn't have that. And I think all of that together is just kind of it's just going to be a battle, brother. It's going to be a battle.
Well, it's the first time that the division has been open in a long time. Last year, it seemed like that, but I think last year we still thought Packers would win it, right? We didn't think Detroit would have any say-so. We thought Minnesota maybe could challenge the Packers, but for the most part, it was, why I think differently is, yeah, they didn't have Devontae, but it's always been the Packers. They had Aaron Rodgers. But I think this year is the first year where it's like, even with Minnesota doing what they did last year, losing Dalvin Cook,
yeah,
now it's open. Detroit is on their way up. We don't know what the Bears are going to do. We don't know what the Packers are going to do now without Aaron Rodgers. So it's a lot of questions, but it's a lot of, I guess, opportunity and a lot of optimism, because now each team feels like, every team feels like they can win a division. But I think for this particular division, you don't have that one team where you say, okay, this team is right up here and everyone else is chasing. You don't have that. So everyone is pretty much starting fresh, anew, except for the Vikings in a sense. I mean, like I said, they lost Dalvin Cook, but yeah, still they still have Justin Jefferson. They still have Kirk Cousins, So we'll see, but I really believe that it's a lot of optimism with all four teams. And this is the first time where I can say, like, I don't know. I feel good because
a toss-up. It feels like a toss-up, doesn't it? It's just like, we're going to see what happens.
Even though a lot of people are not picking the Bears, which I understand, but I mean, you don't know.
Yeah.
As much as we saw the Bears as just they're not going to get anywhere, or they're like that mid-team 8-8, 8-9. This is when it was 16-game season, 8-8, whatever. If you want to do 17 games, 8-9 or 9-8. It's always been like that for the Chicago Bears. But now, since the Bears have added a lot of depth, a lot of people this year that could help, that will help, you don't know. And then, of course, like I said, Detroit. Oh my God, last year. So yeah, so it's very exciting. I think it's one of the most intriguing divisions. I think it's the most intriguing division in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like I said, with everything kind of coming along, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. It's just, you alluded to some great things there. The Vikings defense, we don't know what that's. We just don't know. And I think that's what's going to make it fun. It's going to be a fun division this year. And I think they're going to be extremely competitive. So, but hey, look, first of all, we want to thank our man Raphael Haynes coming on here from the 3-point conversion. And yes, we did miss you, my friend. It was so good to have you back on. Hey, give a shout out to the brand so everybody know where they can find you.
First of all, again, thank you for having me on. And yes, we're on all social media platforms. 3-point conversion. Just you can look it up as the 3-point conversion, or at 3P as in Peter, T as in Tom, C as in Charlie, N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, R S N as in Nancy. So that's that at the 3pointconversion.com, or at 3PTCNV, some are CVNSR. So yeah, we're all over social media, and you could check me out. Look for Raphael Haynes, or Mr. Controversy, as they call me. Yeah, man, and anywhere the Bears are, or anywhere they're talking about the Bears, I'm probably right there talking as well.
right there in the mix. Well, everybody, that has been it for episode 1 of Green and Gold Over Everything here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And I'm so glad this project means a lot to me because, yes, as you can see in the background, if you don't know, that's what it is. But since but wanted to definitely bring you a different perspective here. And hopefully today we brought you a different perspective. I'm Darrell Lawrence with my man Raphael Haynes. This has been Green and Gold over Everything here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Until next week, Falcons, you're next.